artificial intelligence takes physical form at this year's Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and it's generating a lot of buzz at the event and beyond. Hello and welcome. You're watching Press Perspective for this Thursday, January 8th here in Seoul. I'm Min Sunhee. The name of the game at this year's Consumer Electronics Show appears to be physical AI. For more on the world's largest tech show and its ripple effects, I have Chloe Borgnon with French broadcaster France 24 here in the studio. Chloe, welcome back.
Hello, Sunny.
I also have Kim Sung Soo Eric, the founder and CEO of Datacrunch Global, that provides AI-driven strategies and solutions to its partners. Eric, it's an absolute pleasure.
Happy New Year.
Right, we shall start here in the studio. Chloe, let's start off then, perhaps with a definition of the word physical AI, and second, how is it shaping this year's CES?
Yeah, so as you know, artificial intelligence as of now is mostly generative AI. So it's a machine that's learning through what the data you're giving it. So it's been bringing some problem with the idea of what's copyrighted, what is not. We've heard recently that some of like books have been fed into some of the big well-known generative AI to help them learn stuff, and then they're just recreating it using what they know, what we gave them, and also the computer programming that's behind it. So the result is, it looks quite advanced. Obviously, when you ask one of the generative AI to write in the way of someone, or we've seen it with generative images in the way of Ghibli Studio, for example, it seems really nice, but we can see that it can very easily derail in a way if you're asking it to imagine too much. And then some stuff will not be happening well. I remember now it's already a bit outdated, but at one point, one of the generative video AI, we remember, was asked to make someone eat spaghettis, and the person was just taking the spaghetti with the end and eating it. No one is doing that, and that's all we used to really know that it was AI. Another thing is, the idea would be that the future of AI, according to experts, will be physical AI, and the idea is there that you will teach the machine, actually, the law of physics or the way humans behave, so that it will comprehend and be able to feel what's going to happen next. So the idea is that that's the NVIDIA CEO who spoke about it. We might come back to him a bit later on. He said that the idea would be beyond pixel labeling. So the machine is not only seeing pixel and 1 and 2s, and 1 and 0, sorry. It will also get bodily awareness. It will be getting space, motion, and interaction. And the idea would be to merge computer visions, physics simulation, and machine learning, so that the machine can learn cause and effect. So if I'm going this way, that's probably because of this, etc. So that's the idea. And so at CSAE, sorry, all the wrong letters for a French person, CSE, the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang, said that he wants to bring reasoning to autonomous vehicles, and that's probably one of the main big announcement that was made regarding physical AI. So what he's saying is that he wants a system that will allow autonomous vehicles, so a car without a driver, to be taking decisions knowing what the other cars and the other people around it might be doing in a certain situation, and explain the driving decision. For now, what has been done is there's a programming and there's a decision taken before and by an engineer, and not by the machine itself, obviously. So that's also something that's been seen by experts, is that recently we can see at this event that there's actually an idea of hardware uses of AI. So that means things that we as people can buy in the physical world, so autonomous vehicle, for example, that might surpass at one point the software's usage of it, so like ChatGPT or other things that we can use online and that have no physical elements to it.
Right, the tangible elements then of AI. Eric, how does this annual event shape Perhaps innovation strategies at tech companies as well as collaboration within the industry and at the same time influence consumer expectations, do you think?
So first of all, I think that consumers might have been very surprised by looking at Atlas and by Hyundai Motors and Chloe by LG. It was a humanoid that we would see in science fiction movies. And now I think people are realizing that, okay, maybe in very, very near future, we will be living with humanoids, assisting our jobs and also helping our everyday life. So since the consumer's expectation is around the future that has been just emerging, the physical AI era, companies are preparing for that era. And I think that this year's CES, which the theme is AI everywhere, really showcased how that future is just around the corner. What was also very interesting to see is how these technologies was not only developed by large companies, but also small and medium companies are also showing very innovative technologies. So the technological gap is also catching up between large companies and startup companies. That's where the opportunity for large companies to collaborate with small companies are important. And also companies to collaborate to build the supply chain to actually manufacture and service this physical AI industry is being a big agenda. In that sense, I think it's very important to see that Hyundai Movis made a contract, is discussing a contract with Boston Dynamics to supply the core control panels and the softwares and the components to maintain and to help the manufacturing of Atlas. So we're seeing more industry level collaboration and companies are really thinking about what's going to be on the future. At the same time, since we send humanoids, we have to also consider the dramatic change in the labor market that is going to happen in a couple of years. We're already seeing layoffs by tech giants in the United States, and that is going to be accelerated industry-wide by humanoids. And I think that the companies and also the government should wisely prepare for the coming era of human and robots working together in daily lives.
Right, some dramatic changes ahead with regard to labor in the future then. Chloe, South Korean companies have claimed 60% of the innovation awards at this year's CES event, extending the country's streak as a nation with the most such awards for the third year in a row. What has been the foreign media coverage of South Korea's technological edge, if you will?
Yeah, so there's been quite a few interest from foreign medias. In this kind of events, most of the time what the medias are doing is they're getting interested in specific innovation. So the first thing that I noticed in a lot of media from one of the Korean tech company was the K-beauty is shining through a scare beauty device. So the idea is you get a treatment for your scar, in the same time you get an ointment and also aesthetic treatment so that it gets covered, and if it's like on the face you can't see it anymore. So it does seem a bit simple, putting a cream and putting makeup on, but it means that the machine by itself with AI needs to understand which kind of scar it is, what treatment is needed, and then to get the perfect cover-up so that it does not put any simple color on it. So it won one of the best, most important awards regarding innovation. The second thing has also been French media, especially I've been quite impressed with the screen innovations hauled up by the Korean company. So the new type of foldable screen where you won't be able to see when you open the phone, for example, you can't see the crease anymore. They've been speaking also about some tests to show all the new LED panel TV are holding up where robots have been throwing basketball at it, and then some very heavy stuff as well to show how strongly it can support. I mean, it's not going to happen in everyday life, but they were quite impressed by that. And I would say the last thing Eric mentioned, the sci-fi humanoid robots, has been discussed a lot. So the idea is it's a domestic robot that through AI and through robotic innovation is able to help you in your everyday life. So that means you wake up in the morning and it has been putting a fresh croissant in the oven for you just before you wake up, and then it will be folding your laundry and everything. The truth is, and it's funny to see because obviously it's in this kind of moments, those innovations are still on the work, and a lot of journalists have been saying that it is doing it at its own pace, so taking its time, stopping quite a lot, because obviously it's still, the idea is to show innovation, not finished products. So this one, as people are saying, is still work in progress, but journalists have been quite impressed by its versatility and also the promise that's going with it, that it will adapt to the owner's preference and habits, so that it will, be more and more a very useful help in the house. So that's the kind of things that the foreign media have been speaking about.
Right, and speaking about robots, Eric, do you believe the world is on the verge of a humanoid robot revolution, if you will?
I think so, maybe not this year, but in a couple of years it will. Last year, I bought a robotic vacuum cleaner, and that was the best thing that I did in a couple of years. It totally changed my life. We're going to see humanoid robots being in our daily lives, but it's always about policy making. We need to set policies and laws to ensure that we can live and coexist with these humanoids. The technology is always ahead of policy, so it will take a lot of time to really determine what to do with policies and stuff like that. So technology will be ready, but it's how much we are ready as a society to adopt these technologies in daily life will be the determinant of how fast these technologies get into our real lives. The second thing that we have to consider is cost, price. So technology becomes generally accepted when the price becomes friendly enough for the mass majority of the people to adopt these technologies. For example, if you are expecting to pay a humanoid for a couple of $1 million, of course, not many people will be able to buy it. So it has to come down to the economies of scale and technological innovation so that it's an affordable product. So I think that we still have a couple of years until we will see a humanoid world, but definitely the age is coming.
Right, constructive regulations and perhaps affordable prices then in the future. Chloe, the intense competition between the US and China, it's no secret. How is this rivalry shaping the annual trade show this year, do you think?
So from the journalists who are there and reporting live from the place, the main thing they're seeing is in the physical element is a strong sense of intense competitiveness from the Chinese companies that are there. So one of the symbolic elements is that TCL, that is one of the main Chinese company, is in the place of Samsung, where Samsung usually is. So in the main hall of the main event, so you can see the name everywhere. So the thing is, Samsung decided to go somewhere else and open a new hall with their only products and showroom over there. But the thing is, a lot of people have said that it was quite symbolic to see the place taken by a Chinese company that is actually showing quite a lot of impressive things. And when you see the reports from the journalists there, they are showcasing a lot of new technology. Then it's on more of the ideologic point. It's interesting to see how the CES groups is reacting to that. So prior to the opening of the event, Gary Shapiro, who's the president of the CTA, who is taking care of this CES event, he was saying in a press conference right before the opening that they want to be a global platform that champions innovation without taking side. And he was comparing themselves, like the CES, comparing them to a neutral ground like Switzerland in the diplomatic arena. So the whole idea for him is that it's good that Chinese company are there and presenting their innovation and getting in contact with the US companies as well. Obviously, the tariffs that have been put on and the war on tariffs by Donald Trump has been putting everyone a bit on the edge, but in the end, everyone is in the same place and everyone is sharing discussion about technology. And so that's why the CES really wants to see is both countries talking to each other, or at least being in the same place in the US.
Right. Moving forward, Eric, this year's CES, it comes against the backdrop of remarkable advances in global stock markets driven by AI related expectations. What aspects of this reality do you care to highlight?
So there was a lot of discussion of whether AI is in bubble or not. And I think it gave a little bit of confidence through CES to understand where the technology is right now, and the public is picking up on the latest technologies and thinking that the stock market will be positive for some time. And at the same time, it's not only about technology. The Fed chair Powell is expected to end this term this year, and Trump wants to cut down interest rates. So the global economy, the U.S. economy is expected to grow as a policy. So that I think the stock market is also responding to both events, the technological innovation and also the possibility that the new Fed chair will cut down interest rates further so that the U.S. economy will have momentum to have a further growth. So I think it's positive because, the public finally understood that AI is might not be a bubble. And for a Korean standpoint, I think it's very important because we manufacture semiconductors and, all the physical AI requires semiconductors, in my opinion.
And also speaking about South Korea, Eric, the benchmark KOSPI has been soaring to record highs in recent days. What factors do you believe are fueling the stock market rally here in South Korea, and what are the variables that lie ahead, do you think?
So last year, the stock market was fundamentally driven by the capital that flew from the real estate market to the stock market. And this year, I think, the Korean stock market is being really positive on the expectations on Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, which are our major chip makers. So that also echoes with CES this year. As I mentioned earlier, there were a lot of speculations that AI might be a bubble. But I think we should decouple with the AI discussion with the semiconductor demand discussion. Semiconductor demand does not solely rely on the AI technological development because we have physical AI and also data centers. SK Hynix announced HBM4 during CES this year, which is the next generation HBM technology. And those are used for AI data centers and for high performance learning for AI. So there's a large market that is being developed right now, not solely on a one-on-one comparison with AI, but on the infrastructure side, there are duplicated investments across countries trying to build their own data centers and trying to drive their own physical AI initiatives. So that's where the demand is coming from. And I think the Korean stock market is responding positively to those future growth potentials of our tech companies in Korea.
Right, indeed. Chloe, on the broader business front, there is growing optimism about the potential re-entry of K-culture into the Chinese market this year, given the summit between President Lee Jae-myung and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Beijing this week. What have you been hearing?
Yeah, so will the Hallyu the Korean wave finally get back to China? That's the big question. So we know that they've been meeting on Monday. We had already from the presidential office a few information that are not that optimistic yet. They are saying that there is positive sign, but no lift of the ban. That is going to be happening anytime soon. And they say that little progress was made, actually. So what they were saying is Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, has been using metaphor about ice and fruits, saying that the thick ice thaws slowly and that the ripened fruit will fall on its own without external forces. So the thing is, the position of Beijing is always a bit hard on this because they do not recognize that there is a cultural ban. It's been in place since 2016, but it's not recognized officially. But we can see that from what the Chinese president have been answering, the ban is here and is not going to be 100% lifted anytime soon. So the thing is, why was there this unofficial ban? It happened in 2016 because of the crisis of the American missiles here in South Korea, and China was not happy with it. And in the same time, so there was K-pop concerts at the time that were cancelled. The Korean artists could not come and get visa to come perform. Some of the movies were taken out of the cinemas. So that's all the things that happened at the time and are still in place now. And it's true that for K-pop label, for example, it's kind of a very nice market to be eyeing on because currently, even if there's a ban, a fourth of the exportation of K-pop goes to China. So imagine if there were no ban and everyone was free to just buy the album if they really want to. So that's why there's those discussions going on. And there are still some good signs, even if the presidential office doesn't seem that optimistic. There is a caritative concert that's going to happen in Hong Kong soon, and some K-pop group will be there. And the concert will be broadcasted, not live, on the Chinese TV. So this is a good sign that K-pop and the K-culture will be coming back to China.
Right, hence the cautious optimism that we're seeing at this moment. All right, I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Chloe, as always, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you.
Eric, over in the US, thank you so much for your insights today.
Thank you very much.
Right, and on that note, we end this edition of Press Perspective. As always, thank you for watching.